Hello, fellow seekers and collectors. I am the Cinema Seeker, and today I'm going to be reviewing Sonic the Hedgehog. And yes, I didn't have enough time to get a poster time for the review, so you're gonna have to deal with a bit of a blank background. Oh shit! Oh god! Don't play that one!
Why would you throw your life away for this silly little alien?
Good time.
He's my friend.
Let's go! This is my power. And I'm using it to protect my friends. Let's go! Let's go! So, you're supposed to be Tom's best friend that he won't shut up about. Well, I don't see the appeal. That is very gross. Let's go!
I genuinely didn't know if I was going to actually review this one. It's been a long journey with this film. First we heard it was going to be made. Then we found out it was going to be in live action. Then we had the trailer and Sonic looked like an abomination. The internet got pissed, rightfully so. And then they redesigned it, ultimately delaying the film. And now we finally have the film, and the question is it any good? Surprisingly, yes. Somehow. Sonic actually works and is fun to watch. Now, it's not perfect, there are some issues I have, but ultimately, it works. It's not bad. What works to this film's advantage is the redesign. It makes the film very pleasant to watch and not absolutely nightmare-inducing like the last one.
Holy Jesus! What is that? What the fuck is that?
Meow?
Oh my god, what the fuck?
Oh, that is disgusting.
As well, Ben Schwartz's voice as Sonic. You might remember that name because he played John Ralphio in Parks and Recreation.
John Ralphio.
That's me.
I didn't realize you were a part of this.
Of course he is. He's my business partner.
Shh. Clean. Business partner now and forever. Hold up. Forever 21. 21 gun salute. Salute your shorts. Kaboosh. I just free associated all over the mustache.
That's just one of many skills he brings to his business partner.
He provides a genuine energy and feels like he's having fun with the role. He brings a lot to the voice of Sonic, whereas a lot of other actors have come before him, most famously Jaleel White in the 90s cartoon. But Ben really does give a very good performance, and I liked him as the voice. I would not mind a sequel with him returning as Sonic's voice actor. James Marsden is pretty good in the film. He gets some laughs. He has some good moments. Of course, you no doubt will remember him for his role as Cyclops, and also other live-action movies that pairs him up with an animal sidekick. There's almost a bit of an unofficial franchise with Marsden being paired up with a CGI animal. The action is really fun to watch. For many of the speed sections, they actually do borrow heavily from the Days of Future Past Quicksilver scenes, and even the one in X-Men Apocalypse and the minor one in the newest one, Dark Phoenix. In fact, it is very much feels like a parody, especially in the bar scene in the film. Definitely felt like it was referencing the film, especially with how it starts and how the music goes. It also has a pretty down-to-earth story, with it being about Sonic the Hedgehog being very lonely and wanting companionship in the film, especially since he is from essentially a different planet, as they say. They very much heavily emphasize that he's kind of an alien on this, although I would say he's more from another dimension, with the idea of the rings coming into it and acting as these kind of portals that you've seen in the trailer. So I would say he's definitely more of a dimension hopper than like an intergalactic being. But it is a little predictable on the fact that he'll buddy up with Marsden, that they'll ultimately become friends, but they don't really rely on it that much, which is good. Jim Carrey does what he does best in this film. He is easily the highlight of the film. He really does all the things that you would want out of a Jim Carrey performance. He's an over-the-top character, a lot of physicality. Even him saying that at one point he kind of had like a tribute to Dick Van Dyke, who's a very iconic actor when it came to physical comedy. And you really do feel that in this film. You do feel that tribute and that very much calling upon old-timey comedy, essentially, especially with his very curly, his very curled mustache bad guy villain type. It fits the role, especially with it being a over-the-top video game villain. He really does play that role, and you could tell he's having a blast while acting as this character, which really helped the film and makes him easily one of the best parts. If you laughed during the trailer, trust me, there's even more funnier jokes in the film. I think what works the most is they managed to adapt a video game like Sonic and make it work. Like the coins, they play a huge part in this film, very much the way they do in the video games. Now, the entire film isn't just about him collecting coins like the way you hear all the little noises, they end up on streets, but it is the main plot of the film, and the way they use it is very clever. I'm not gonna sit here and say that this is the most like galaxy-brained good idea imaginable, but I was very impressed how they still kept to that aspect. Because ultimately the original game is just about collecting coins, but they actually do implement them well into the film. As well as even the boss battles. They feel a lot of times like boss battles from a video game, but not in a very gimmicky way. You can tell they did their homework with how they actually act and kind of play out. Especially the final battle at the end. It felt like the way Sonic would battle in the video games. Again, not in a very gimmicky way, where like it's not like that terrible Doom scene where they inexplicably went first person. Yeah, that garbage, they don't do that. It feels very much like they're tributing it in a good way without making it a gimmick. And I liked that. Another aspect is the fact that they really do reference a lot of the culture around Sonic. There's a lot of Sonic memes and a lot of references to different pieces of Sonic that have been across like all of the different years that he's been a character, but they don't feel like a very much haha, we're hip and cool, how do you do fellow kids? It does feel natural, like they know that it's out there and they want to make a little bit of a reference to it. The only thing I could really say is a noticeable absent is something having to do with Sonic Chew by Chris Chan, but the film distancing itself from Chris Chan isn't a bad thing. Not a bad thing. So that's what ultimately works, because if you are a die-hard Sonic fan, you are gonna love this film with all the different references and all the different things that they pull from the many years of Sonic. I'm a casual fan. I haven't played a lot of the video games. I don't own any of them. I've played only a few, but I was pretty happy with some of the Easter eggs. Some of them got a pretty good laugh out of me. However, despite all my positives, I think the biggest issue I had was the dialogue. It it feels like a kid's film at times. There are some adult humor jokes. There are some surprisingly edgy jokes in this film that I did not expect, or I was like, wow, I'm actually kind of shocked they put that in what is obviously a kids movie, but there are a lot of different points where you can tell it is for children, or at least kept in mind that kids are going to be watching. Like there's the scene where a government official is talking to the people in the boardroom, and he says, "Well, we thought an EMP caused this. However, an electromagnetic pulse wouldn't cause the size of this." It's clear they had to spell that out because most kids don't know what an EMP is unless you're like that kid who plays Call of Duty when he's like 7. So most other kids won't know what an EMP is, so they had to spell it out. And there's a lot of that in this film where it feels like they're over explaining things, or a lot of it is just exposition to the audience because they know that there's going to be quite a lot of little kids watching this film. I can even prove this when I went to go see it yesterday, or at least the yesterday when at the time that I'm filming this, there were quite a few kids there, and they did look like small children. So that it's clear this is what their demographic is going to be, but it doesn't do it in a way where it's very patronizing and it's very like, oh, we know it's for kids, so we don't have to care. We don't have to put any effort into the film. They definitely make it more of a family film, taking kind of the idea the way Pixar or other things or other companies do. But it's not as good as that. Don't be putting words in my mouth and saying that, oh, Cinema Seeker Sonic is as good as Pixar. Absolutely not. But I definitely would say they gave more of a shit about this one than, say, other very made-for-cash grab garbage that you see a lot of times. And that's at least something I can give the film. But yeah, the dialogue can get a little bit poor in some moments. Not to mention, not every joke works. Because this is a family film, not every joke in a family film will exactly be grade A comedy. You know, we're not dealing with Mel Brooks or, you know, classic cinema like that. There are some jokes that fall very flat or don't feel that great. Well, Marsden's character arc is very predictable as to where it's going to go. The minute you see the arc start, you know how it's gonna go from start to middle to finish. That's a bit of an issue, is being able to predict that and know what's exactly gonna happen. This isn't like predictable good where you know how that the hero is gonna overtake the bad guy or anything, but it's about the journey. Unfortunately with this, the journey is the journey you've seen plenty of times in these kind of films. His arc is an arc that we've seen almost too many times in certain films. Oh, gee, Cinema Seeker, though. What if I don't care about the Sonic the Hedgehog character? What if I don't like him? You're right, actually. If you can't give a single inkling of a shit for this character or find him very annoying, you're not gonna like this movie, because he talks a lot throughout the film. And that could get on some people's nerves, especially if you're the type of person who maybe didn't like Sonic because they felt like a personification of the 90s. Yeah, you're not going to like this one. Granted, he's not a 90s character, but he definitely feels like a 2010s character at times because he's flossing up and down. 2 times he flosses. I don't mind spoiling that because I'm just preparing you for it. But at the end of the day, this film isn't bad. It actually does work. For what it is, it's actually pretty good and decent. It's definitely going to be one that I could see a lot of families enjoying together, and a lot of even adults maybe even liking. I mean, my father tagged along with me to the premiere, to seeing it in the theaters, and my dad did not care about this film at all. He didn't think he was going to like it, and he came out actually liking the film. Also, we live in a very weird timeline where now we can say the Sonic the Hedgehog movie is better than half the video game to movie adaptations that have been made, and is better than the recent Star Wars, Terminator, and even the latest, my last review, Birds of Prey. I'm not saying Birds of Prey is a bad movie, but somehow I actually kind of enjoyed this movie at times better than that one. We truly live in the weirdest timeline. But that's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. So be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. If you want to see more reviews, again, be sure to keep up to date with me. And I'll see you guys next time.